come up on our screens just yet. That goes up in race direction, they cover that, are absolutely on top of it. I'm sure we would have known by now. Cicconi's still fourth in our timing screens, and he'll be disappointed, won't he, Kiko, not to have finished on the podium there, but still leading the championship by 5 points, coming away from this penultimate round of the season. Not bad going for Cicconi.
Not bad at all, but it's just like we were saying in the build-up, Neil. Cicconi has struggled to replicate what he's been able to do in race 1 over in race 2 for Mattia Casadei. I bet he can't believe where he's ended up after this weekend. He was a joint championship leader. He's now second, but only 5 points back, having dropped it in qualifying. Eric Granado is fifth in the championship race and still able to have a very, very good say here in all of this. And then we haven't spoke about him, but he is tied in third place with Matteo Ferrari, your race winner, who is about to make his way to the podium, Lorenzo Baldassarri. This really could go any way. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't like to be in the content creation moto, because there's going to be a few assets being delivered over the next few weeks. That you can be sure of.
Yeah, absolutely. As Ferrari takes to the top step off the podium, Nicolo Trevisan, Ducati Moto E warehouse manager, handing out the trophy for third place to Mattia Casadei. That podium will taste extra sweet, having come from 10th on the grid. Andrea Albani, managing director of the Misano World Circuit, hands Eric Granado the trophy for second. What a comeback it's been for him.
In time today in Moto E, we will have the Italian national anthem. Now we go to Portimao in 2 months' time, and somehow we are going to end up with a Moto E World Champion. 33 points covering the top 7. It can still go 7 riders' ways. It's absolutely incredible.
It really is. It is turning into one of the best Moto E World Championships that we've ever had, and pretty fitting considering we're buying out in November in Portugal.
We are going out with a bang, that is for certain, and you will be able to follow all of the Moto E action very, very soon indeed, coming up in Portugal on the 7th to the 9th of November. We're looking through the results just outside the top 9. We got that. Well, outside the top 6, we got down to Baldassarri, Gutierrez, Hoshi, Bernardi. Finello completed that top 10. Herrera, a strong ride in 11th. Fusco, Occhi, Mantovani did stay out and get some points. So who knows how important those two could be at the end of 2025 in a couple of months' time. Your rider standings, well, we've spoken a lot about it, but it is remarkable. Cicconi and Casadei split by 5, 12 points and locked together on 148. It is down there for Ferrari and Baldassarri. They are 12 points behind each. Granado hanging on there in 5th. Spinelli and Mantovani, mathematical chances, 6th and 7th. Your team standings, well, the LCRE team have now got one hand on that championship trophy. They are within striking distance next time out at Portimao, and they'll be looking to try and make it work in Portugal. Wow, what about it? Moto E is just delivered in spades once again, and we will be back in the first weekend of November, the first full week of November, to do it all over again and have our title showdown. But until then, please do enjoy the rest of the San Marino GP from myself, Kiko Giles, Neil Morrison in comes alongside me, and Elliot York somewhere down in pit lane. Goodbye.
Another rider that went down as well, Zemitani. We saw lots of him in the pre-show, but he starts from 4th position on the grid. Buoyed by that podium back in Germany, I think he's also a big contender today.
Yeah, he's buoyed by that and buoyed by the fact that, as we discussed yesterday, you know, he feels that this is a sort of an Asian-type circuit, much more stop and go, and that is what he feels he's good at. You know, the first corner, stop and go, the chicane, then up the hill to the very, very tight right-hander at the top of the hill, and they are very much stop and go corners. And it was interesting on that subject talking to Danny Ribalta, the rider coach.
And doing the TV commentary, so I get to do everything. I was brought up in a motorcycling family. My parents were teachers, but my dad would. Is experience. I've been involved in racing for so long. I've watched so much racing. We're very fortunate to be able to apply that experience, help the young riders be what they need, and hopefully help them move on with their career. That is the most important thing. We want to give our riders the best possible chance to live their dream. Every year we get 26 teenagers who desperately want to do this, and the only thing we have to do is help them do it. That is just about the best job you can wish for.
Great to hear from Peter Clifford about his role in the Red Bull MotoGP Rookies Cup. And now I think Peter has to go to the commentary box alongside with Matt Dan, because it's action time. Take it away, guys.
Thanks very much, Dominica, and it's a different view out of here today. That you know, we've had beautiful sunshine. We've been able to seize the fabulous Austrian countryside and the build up to this. It doesn't look so happy today, does it, mate?
No, exactly. Yesterday, of course, we had all the rain coming over. Don't think we're going to get any of that for the Rookies Cup race this morning, though there are a few weather warnings for later on in the MotoGP action. When that gets underway, I was a bit concerned by the low cloud and the mist this morning, but as you can see, it's all cleared away. We are ready to go racing here. It's 8:40 local time. I know those of you in Britain watching, it's very, very early indeed. Barely drinking your morning coffee. And everywhere else around the world. Ready for an awesome race here today, huh?
Yeah, mist on the mountain means something a bit different here, doesn't it, Matt? And it's, you know, the things have dried up since yesterday. We've got a perfectly dry track. And as you say, the weather forecast isn't till rain for later. So let's hope we've got 16 laps of dry, super Red Bull MotoGP action. And I think, you know, obviously with the change in conditions, it's going to be a very different race.
Yeah, very different in some aspects. I don't think it's going to be as spread out as we saw yesterday, but I do think, Peter, that we are going to see another big ding-dong battle with our three main championship contenders. We're looking at one of them right now, Vader Pratama, who I think, in his post-race interviews, he's such a smiley fella. You never see him seemingly rattled and things like that. I think it was a bit more of a grimace than a smile to finish second place yesterday. What do you reckon?
Yeah, that's right. I think, you know, he knows that the countdown is there for the end of the season. He's only got 3 races, including this one, to do the battle with Hakim Danish and Brian Uriarte, and it all closed up yesterday, but it's Brian Uriarte that leads on 166 points, Hakim Danish on 162, and Vader Patama on 150. So he has got some work to do if he's going to catch Brian Uriarte and Hakim Danish at the head of the championship.
Yeah, because if you put it this way, Vader Patama wins every race here on out, and Brian Uriarte finishes second, but he still wins the Cup, does Brian? So let's see how that goes. Marco Morelli is a rider that I'm keeping a close eye on for today. Drier conditions, he's not got a long lap penalty to deal with, starting from 3rd on the grid. He's a proper Sunday, racing rider. He's not too much of a qualifier, so he could be one to get in the mix today, I reckon.
Yeah, that's right. And of course, you know, he did superbly well in qualifying, as you say. He's not normally one for qualifying, but he qualified on the front row, and that was actually using a spare bike because he had a technical issue with his bike early on in practice, and he had to use the spare. So that was enormously impressive. He said we still needed to do some work on the bike, and if we get that sorted, I'm going to be quick. So let's hope that's where he is today.
There's Beñat Fernandez looking a lot happier today. He's starting down near enough the back of the grid in 24th spot. Not used to that, seeing that from the very talented Spaniard. He had a crash in the opening lap in qualifying, didn't set a lap, so that's all she wrote for that one. Yesterday, didn't have a great time of it. Ended up crashing in the first part of the race. Of course, it was red flagged when the rain started coming down. Another rider that went down as well, Zemitani. We saw lots of him in the pre-show, but he starts from 4th position on the grid. Buoyed by that podium back in Germany, I think he's also a big contender today.
Yeah, he's buoyed by that, and buoyed by the fact that, as we discussed yesterday, you know, he feels that this is a sort of an Asian-type circuit, much more stop and go, and that is what he feels he's good at. You know, the first corner, stop and go, the chicane, then up the hill to the very, very tight right-hander at the top of the hill, and they are very much stop and go corners. And it was interesting on that subject, talking to Danny Ribalta, the rider coach. He said, you know, for some of the riders who are struggling, he told them really to simplify things here. And that was he pointed that out to Alejandra Fernandez, who qualified 17th, a good position for her, that it was stop and go, and they should simplify the way they use the track.
Yeah, well, exactly. Keep it simple. That'll be the key then, won't it? Here's how they do line up on the grid then. We have seen the front row already. From 5th place downwards, you've got Kristen Daniel Jr., David Gonzalez, Singapore car pushing Danish make up row 3. And I'll just go to row 4, where we have Ramadipa, Pugliese and Ramersdorfer. Leo Ramersdorfer, the only Austrian rider on the grid this year. He's in his 3rd season of Rookies Cup, so this will be sort of a farewell ride for him in Austria as far as Rookies Cup goes. And now we're about to begin that warm-up lap.
And as I say, yeah, Alejandra qualified 17th. That was good position for her. Though, of course, the race was ruined yesterday by the fact that she had a double long lap penalty for triggering a fall in at the Saxon Ring a couple of weeks ago. So here we have now, as I say, that's the first stop and go corner there, up to the chicane, which was put in 2022, the Munza chicane, and that's a question of getting out of there.
Also quite stop and go though, I would say, in the second part of it, too deep.
Yeah, very, very much so, you know, and then up here to the slowest part of the track, the first gear corner at the top of the hill there. Now, interesting, they have a mid-corner speed of 66 kilometres an hour. I was listening to the Formula One commentary a few weeks ago, and the Formula One cars apparently go through there at 72 kilometres an hour. So there's not a huge difference between a Formula One car and a Rookies Cup bike. 72 for a Formula One car, 66 for a Rookies Cup bike. But of course, the Formula One car is not generating hardly any downforce at that sort of speed. So, and of course, they don't have, you know, as good a racing line through there. It's a very tight for a Formula One car, whereas, you know, on a Rookies Cup or a motorcycle, you've still got a good sweep for it. So only quite a little bit of a difference, really.
And I would say this part of the track we're looking at the moment is the main sort of compromise that riders have to make in their setup of the bikes. It's the real fast and flowing section. As we saw in the rain yesterday, you won't see quite the difference today, but for the likes of Hakim Danish, who likes to stop and go parts of the circuit more, he was relatively rather slow from turns 5 all the way through to turn 8, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was indeed. And the highest top speed here is on this front straight. Also on the top straight there is 207 kilometres an hour, 120.
This is it, Brian, round the outside.
My goodness.
What a move that is.
Uriarte prevailing over Danish before a crash in race 2 would allow his rival to claim the championship lead with another second place. Uriarte was back to winning ways in the Le Mans opener, but there was more drama in race 2. Danish somehow recovering from the crash to take his 4th straight second place finish. Uriarte would take another opener in Aragon, but in race 2, fortunes were finally reversed.
From Uriarte and Gonzalez.
What about 5 second places and 1 win?
In Mugello, it was then the turn of Veda Britama to come to the fore, picking up his first 2 Rookies Cup wins to catapult up in the standing. Uriarte was back on the top step of the podium in the Sachsenring opener, would endure more misfortune in race 2.
Oh my God! Uriarte to them.
Crashes for both him and Danish, allowing Britama to step into championship contention. Over to Spielberg though, and Uriarte would show his class. The Spaniard taking both races over Britama to claim the championship lead over Danish for the first time this season.
Brian does it again. He takes the win. And Danish, though, crucially, comes across the line in 13th spot.
Well, there you have it. After trailing Danish for 5 rounds, Uriarte has really turned it around to put himself in the commanding position at the top of the standings ahead of the final 2 races. Danish, though, well, he certainly hasn't given up hope of taking the championship, but at 26 points back, he needs everything to go right for him this weekend. 5 points ahead of him sits Britama after his sensational run of form since Mugello, but he's very much in the same boat. Well, it's shaped up to be one hell of a finish for our 2025 finale, but how are our main contenders feeling ahead of the final 2 races? Dominica caught up with them. See what's going down.
Brian Uriarte is our pole sitter for the last qualifying of the 2025 season.
Yeah, I'm super happy about the result, but you know, it's a qualifying and tomorrow we have a title chance too, so it will be difficult, but I'm really looking forward for tomorrow.
Me too, for Veda Britama, you must be very happy.
Yeah, I'm really happy with the result, but I had 2 crashes during the day. I know I can do better. I can do the P1, the pole position, maybe if I'm not crashed, but
Starting from the front row isn't bad.
yeah, it's not bad.
P6, so second row for you, Hakim. How does that feel?
Yeah, I in the QP I manage very well and I try to improve myself and and then the crew improve my bike, the setup, and I feel more confident to ride in the QP, and we finish with the P6 position. So looking forward for tomorrow race 1, and yeah, wish me luck for tomorrow.
Well, we're qualifying all wrapped up. Domi, it looks like we are set for a cracking couple of races to finish off the season.
Definitely, Matt. That's a great setup for our championship leaders. Brian front row, Veda front row, and then second row for Hakim Danish. So it's looking like it's going to be an amazing and exciting race.
Yeah, absolutely can't wait. But before we get there, we do have one more little surprise for you all, as we got a message from a very special guest wishing good luck to our championship contenders.
Let's hear from him.
I'm Alvaro Carpe, the 2024 Red Bull Rookies Cup champion, and just to say good luck to all the riders. Have fun. I hope all goes good. I will be watching. And now it's time to race. Over the commentator team, take it away.
Thanks, Alvaro. It's always a pleasure to see our guys go on to such success in Grand Prix racing, to see Valentin Peroni on pole this weekend, Alvaro Carpe right up there. He's been battling for podium places all the way through the season. Absolutely superb, and good of him still to be very much interested, of course, in what the rookies are doing.
And that begs the question, Peter, who will be joining him on the Moto3 World Championship grid next year? We've got our
top 3 in the championship. Potential Moto3 rides await for them. And then who else could be moving up? It's a massive weekend, not just for our championship contenders, but the other riders in the Rookies Cup who are 18 and might want to be moving up as well.
That's right, and just enormous pressure on these teenagers. There is the pole position man, the 17-year-old Spaniard Brian Uriarte leading the points of call. And of course, you know, he's going into this race knowing that he could be champion by the end of the day.
Yeah, as I said in the pre-show, it's pretty simple. If he wins the race, he's the champion. But I believe if he's second, Vader is third, he is still the champion. There are other permutations.
That's right, and you know, I'm sure we're going to see the points, you know, in the screen as the race goes on, and we'll be seeing. But of course, the key thing is that Brian has to go away with a 25-point lead this evening if he's going to be crowned champion today.
So we do have positions 1 and 2 in the championship, in pole position and second place on the grid today. Hakim Danish is in the back of shot there. He is 6th on the grid. I did also see very, very big superstar of Grand Prix racing, Kevin Schwartz on the grid in the background as well, as we had our shot of Brian. And he went to go and see Zen Mitani in 4th position.
And why did he think, why is he talking to Zen then?
Because he runs a number 34, actually. I'm not sure if Kevin ran 34 in tribute to Zen Mitani or the other way round. But yeah, so he just had a good luck message from the rider whose number he uses on the grid. How nice is that?
It's fabulous, and absolutely great to see these guys here. And that was Rueda, previous Cup champion, just giving Gonzalez, David Gonzalez, a good luck. He's the 17-year-old Spaniard, of course, who completes the front row of the grid. David Gonzalez, and he's really been on form in the second half of the season. There's the man who hasn't had the form in the second half of the year.
It went off the boil slightly, didn't he? But this is one of the better performances in qualifying for Danish. 6th place for him. He's got all his family and friends rallied around him this weekend. In fact, Peter, his dad has taken a plane for the first time in his life to visit his son, to watch him race internationally for the very first time. How wonderful is that?
He's very much, yeah. I mean, Hakim has been, you know, superb Rookies Cup rider for the 3 years. It's his 3rd season of Rookies Cup. He's been absolutely brilliant, but I think his back is against the wall this weekend. He wasn't happy through P1, FP1, FP2. He even, you know, things improved. The guys worked on the bike. He was happier for qualifying. But at the end of that, he said, the bike is still only 80% right. I'm still only 8% happy. And that is not really the way you want to go into the final 2 races of the season.
He needs to find that 20% himself, doesn't he?
He does. He does.
His right wrist and his first couple of fingers on his right hand, basically, right?
Yeah.
So let's have a quick rundown of the grid then. I mean, we're absolutely trudging through it at the speed of light, basically, as you can see all the way down to row 9 there. But basically, what we're going to be paying attention to, especially in this race, Uriarte is first, Vader second, Hakim Danish is 6th. There are so many other riders who have got big points to prove. They want a position in the World Championship. They want a position in Rookies Cup next year. You know, they just want to continue their careers and put the best performance that they can. And they could all play a big factor in this championship chase here today.
That's right. We've assumed that it's a battle between Brian Uriarte and Vader Fatama, but of course, you know, David Gonzalez, he's on the front row of the grid. He certainly has ideas about winning this. Zen Mitani coming up the second row with the support of Kevin Schwartz, Scuderia Pugliese, Italian. Hakim Danish, he needs it from, you know, 6th place on the grid. Guillaume Clark, Luca Agostinelli, Marco Morelli. Marco Morelli, you know, he's already got a ride for next year.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to be riding much more relaxed now. He will be with the Aspar team alongside Maximo Quiles, former Rookies Cup front runner, next year. What will that do for his confidence? And also, it's just worth saying what a wonderful success story that is. Morelli, no plan B, he's got on the back on his helmet. He took a year off racing, then signed up for the Rookies Cup selection event, got selected, he's in year 3, he's won races, got podiums, and now he's signed for one of the top teams in Moto3. He has made it as a professional rider, all thanks to Rookies Cup.
Well, that's right. But he's an enigma, isn't he? Because, you know, last year he won 2 races. The way he won in Assen last year, he was in a race of his own. Yeah. And yet, you know, he can't do that every weekend.
No.
And he hasn't won this year.
But he's clearly shown enough
that they are like, you're our guy.
Yeah, well, that's right. I mean, you know, and maybe that's what he needs. He needs to be in a team where they're just concentrating on him. Of course, we have 26 rookies. There's a limited amount of concentration on Marco Morelli. When he gets in his own team, that will be different next year. It'll be fascinating to see how it goes.
Exactly that. So then, this is the final corner then. Will we see any drama here this weekend? All down to the final lap. You'll remember, if you were watching last year, the 51 Brian Uriarte lost the Rookies Cup title to Alvaro Carpe in the final lap and the final corner in the last race.
And he said the mistake I made was going into that race. He said, I went into it trying not to lose. That was wrong, he said. You've got to go into the race going for the win. And he said, that's what I'm going to be doing tomorrow.
Here we go, Peter.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But then, you know, I'm sure Vader's got the same idea, as has David Gonzalez, and, you know, at least half the grid. OK, we're in for 15 laps of Red Bull MotoGP Rookies Cup action. And they're away. Everybody gets a good start. Vader, is he going to pass Brian on the run into the first corner? He's got the inside line. Surely it's going to be Vader who takes the lead from Brian Uriarte into the first corner.
Neck and neck they were, Peter, and Vader takes the lead. And look at that, who's in third place? It is David Gonzalez ahead of Giulio Pugliese. Where's Dinesh? Did he get bogged down a little bit? He did. He's a couple of places back than when he started on the grid. But Vader, he's decided, I'm going to win this race. I'm going to take it to the wire.
That's right. He's going to do this to keep his championships hope alive into tomorrow. Absolutely superb stuff. But it's already Brian Uriarte who takes the lead.
This is it, down into turn 8 then, as it's one of the biggest braking zones on the track, and we've got Brian into the lead at the end of that first sector. Then out we come on towards turns 9 and 10. Big overtaking spots here, but you don't want to sacrifice your drive onto the back straight.
Dash into ninth, back into ninth place. He's got a lot of work to do.
This is the question. Will it be a big old freight train of riders, or will Brian pull the pin? I tell you what, Peter, he's been smiling all weekend. He's seen nothing less than pure confidence every time I've seen him.
Absolutely, isn't he? And, you know, Vader knows that he can't afford to let him get away. He's got to get with Brian and give him a hard time. The number 11 is there, David Gonzalez. He also fancies giving a hard time. Morelli's there in fifth place behind Pugliese.
Yeah, we've not seen much of Pugliese the last couple of rounds, but don't forget he's got 2 podiums so far this year, has the Italian rider. I know he's also won races here in Misano in the European Talent Cup previously as well. So really, really, really keep your eye on him. But also the 95, Marco Morelli, just behind him.
Yeah, there's the 13. He nudges somebody out of the way there. He knows Agostinelli. He knows he's got to make his way through. He can't afford to be nice about it. 14 laps remaining. As you say, Pugliese, you know, he enjoys riding at home. He's got a huge fan following here. He said he loves the track. He said Mugello's even better, but I have fun here. I'm going to have a great... I can't wait to ride tomorrow, he said.
Well, on they come to the back straight. Well, one of the 2 back straights, I think I'd call this one. It's Brian Uriarte and David Gonzalez. Gonzalez definitely putting himself in the frame for a potential World Championship ride going forward. And he goes for the lead now. He overtakes Brian, under-braking into that left-hander. But how much of his drive has he sacrificed? Not too much as he maintains the lead then. Brilliant.
Yeah, and if it finishes like this, Gonzalez, Uriarte, Fatama, then... Uriarte is the Cup champion, no matter what happens tomorrow.
And the back straight again, they come. A little bit of weaving in the background there. We know they've been warned about that after it got a little bit out of hand over the last couple of rounds, so they've got to keep that one in check as they go full slipstream through Curvone, the fastest corner on the calendar. Now it's full braking and little sort of squirts of power between the corners, and they're going 3, 4 abreast, and Morelli nearly clips the back wheel of Vader Bratama. You don't want to be doing that, Marco, as he slots into 4th.
Yeah, so any idea that Brian Uriarte was going to get to the front and run away with it, that disappeared very quickly, didn't it? Because Gonzalez, Federman, they're well off in the blue stuff there. That's okay. They don't get penalised for going off on the blue stuff. Only if they touch the green have they got to be careful.
Morelli really trying to make his way through on Vader Pratama. He just tried to outbrake him there, but Pratama cut his nose off to make sure he couldn't get through. Bryant's back in the lead, though. Where's Dinesh? Just on the back of this group. He's behind the number 32 of Ramadeepa, the Indonesian rider who's been on some great form lately as well. He's trying to go on the inside.
Oh, did he touch it? Almost looked as though he touched rear wheel there, didn't he?
I think he left a couple of time marks on Ramadeepa and Leathers there. But Dinesh, after an initial sluggish start, he's in the groove again. 8th position, trying to make his way up to 7th. Gonzalez trying to make a move on Brian Ariarte. Into 1st again, but not quite.
Yeah, superb, nice line from Brian Ariarte there, hanging on to the advantage.
Morelli's made his way up into 3rd as well, ahead of Pratama. So this would be the case where Ariarte does take the championship today.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. And of course, Vader knows that, so he's going to be he must be worried about the two Spaniards getting ahead now. They could make a break on Morelli and make it very difficult for him. We'll see what happens.
Through Carbone we go, on board with the Indonesian. Not quite as he tries to make a move through Morelli there. That is one of the bravest places to do it on the calendar. And look at that. Oh, wow. But it's such a pleasure to watch Vader Pratama ride. And Morelli fights straight back at him. Tries to stand him up in the middle of the corner as well. Absolutely brilliant.
Rubbing paint off each other, and yet they're not slowed down at all, are they? Because they didn't lose ground to Ariarte and in that battle.
Well, then just behind them, you've got Pugliese. Zenmitani, who started from 4th on the grid. He's in 6th, just ahead of Danish now in 7th, who's dispatched Ramadeepa. We see fastest laps of the race, the fastest rider on track of the race so far, Hakim Danish.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant stuff. He knows what he's got to do. So even Danish, he went into the race, as I said, saying that the bike was only 80% sorted. He's riding around any kind of problems that he's got at the moment. Fastest man on track.
The other 20% has got to come from him, and that other 20% came from Marco Morelli there as he pushes Pratama out wide as they flick it right, then left onto the little straight here from turn 6. Ariarte over the curbs, having to jump back onto the track. He's really drilling the pace, isn't he, Peter? But he's got a lot of riders able to come with him.
Yeah, he has. And David Gonzalez, you know, he had a fall yesterday. He said he was going for pole. He just pushed and pushed and pushed until he pushed too hard and slid off. But he said, I'm okay, the bike's okay, you know, I'm going to do it in the race. And he's chasing Brian Ariarte very strongly now.
Morelli just really wants to make another move back on Pratama and get through again. He clearly thinks he's got better pace, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does, yes, absolutely. And, you know, as I say, Marco is capable of anything, anytime, any weekend. His head has just got to be in it, and it's in it at the moment.
I think you described him right. He is an enigma, isn't he? He's one of those riders you just think on this given day, fastest in the race, no question.
Great pass by Vader Pratama up into 2nd place behind Brian Ariarte.
And Gonzalez really lost out. He's been properly pushed back now. Morelli moves through into 3rd as well. A couple of riders I want to keep an eye on, Peter. Carl pushing in 9th. He had good pace last time around. Then you've got Benyat Fernandez and Christian Daniel, 10th and 11th. Not seen too much of them this weekend, but they have been big, heavy hitters the last few rounds of Rookies Cup. Can they do something today or maybe tomorrow to cap off their great seasons?
Well, that's right. They've both been podium guys, haven't they? And they've both been quick, and they've really just got to put it together in this final weekend.
Ramadeepa, fastest rider on track then, just in the back of this group. Dinesh still in 7th place, not able to make any inroads on Mitani just ahead of him. Well, it looks like he had, but Mitani just pushes it way wide, forces it well wide, and Joel Pons has unfortunately gone down at turn 15. Oh, it's been a torrid year for poor Joel. He looked really good in practice, didn't he? But qualifying didn't work out for him.
No, he did. He did look good in practice, but he just had a lousy both seasons. First season, second season has not worked out. He's got more talent than he shows for sure. Morelli in 2nd place now, and he's put his head down chasing after Brian Ariarte. He's looking for his first win of the season.
Thompson in 13th position. He's another one of our podium finishers and front runners. He's just bit off the boil in recent rounds in terms of his actual results on paper, but he is, you know, has been consistently up there throughout the season, so would love to see more from him in these final 2 races.
Right, there's still 11 laps remaining. You know, it's time you think about, is somebody saving your tyres, that sort of thing. The Pirellis do last very, very well. They also give tremendous feedback. So even if they do start to go off a little bit, they give plenty of warning to the riders. So we're hopefully not going to have any dramas like that. Ariarte now under pressure from Marco Morelli.
And Morelli, just, I wonder if sort of mid-season, sort of the question marks over his future potentially. Just, you know, it does tend to happen in the riders' third years. All those questions of, well, what next could sort of play on their mind, but he's definitely back to his old self. Now he is signed, sealed, delivered to the Aspar team in Moto3 next year.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All ex-rookies in that squad, and it's great to see Marco Morelli joining them.
Yes, it will be, with Morgado and Alonso as well next year, Muck too. So absolutely brilliant stuff. It's all starting to bunch up a little bit now, Peter. Everyone else is catching up. Martinez actually set the fastest lap of the race. He's 16th for number 77, Venezuelan, a 1:45.0. So is Brian Uriarte pulling the pin, or is he bunching it up to try and push Vader back as much as possible? What do you reckon?
Well, it's sensational, as you say. Martinez is the fastest guy on the track. His best result this year is a couple of 12th places, you know, so... but he's quick. I mean, it shows how competitive Rookies Cup racing is and how close it is. It was something that Danny Ribalta, the rider coach, was pointing out to me, Peter. He said it is so close this year that even the guys at the back of the field and the girl at the back of the field are still doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever been closer, a more competitive Rookies Cup. And then it shows when they do go into Moto3 how strong they are instantly. Maximo Quiles, another bit of an enigma, but wins pole positions, podiums in his very first year, even when he started a couple of races late because he was too young.
For too young, that's right. And it's great to see Maxo, isn't it? And touchwood, you know, he has been that overly wild stuff that he showed you know, a couple of times in Rookies Cup seems to have gone now. And
yeah,
he's on the edge. He pushes
character now, isn't he?
But he seems to know where the limit is.
Of course, he did literally crash out of third position in the championships here last year and knocked himself out. Ended up in the medical centre for goodness sake. Like, he was a wild child by the time he finished Rookies Cup.
That's right. He's a great kid now, and he's a great racer.
Fastest lap of the race then, Carter Thompson, 1:44.8. They get quicker and quicker and quicker. We are looking at Danish, who's now in 7th place still. He's got Zen Mitani still ahead of him, but looking a bit more strong. Sorry, he's in 6th place now. He's got Quiles behind him.
So we're coming up to half distance here. Nobody has shown any kind of real advantage. Brian Uriarte has been the most consistent front runner, but there's a few others had a go, and I would think the next man who is going to have a go is Marco Morelli. He pulls alongside. No, he's not going to do it here, but I think that Marco could well have a look anytime soon.
Of course, with this being the final races of the season, if you do miss Rookies Cup uncontrollably, I know I will, you can binge watch Born Racers now on the Red Bull Motorsports YouTube channel. Just scan that QR code on your screens. It shows you all the behind the scenes of what it takes to be in Rookies Cup, from the guys at the front to the guys at the back. And that was the 2023 season.
And, you know, while I'm talking about internet and so forth, don't forget that you have your last chance to apply to join the Rookies Cup next year up until midnight Sunday night. We've still got applications open, and then we'll be choosing who will be invited to the selection event in October to decide the riders who are invited to the Cup for next season.
Could you be a story like Marco Morelli? He really is you know, just one in a long line of poster childs of Rookies Cup, isn't he?
Yeah, well, that's right. You know, Jorge Martini won the MotoGP World Championship last year. After, in the post-podium press conference, said, I would not be here if it not for the Rookies Cup, and absolutely true. So, back with our action now. These are the guys who are looking to go into the Grand Prix classes next year. It's Uriarte, Marco Morelli, Gonzalez, Pratova, Mitani, Pucciolesi, Hakim Danish, still with a chance of being Cup champion.
Such a technical part of the circuit here as we watch sort of the slow motion of the riders. This nice overtake from Uriarte into Curvone. These guys, they don't lift through there at all, do they? No, and he's using all off the curb there. It's fairly bumpy across the inside there, but it doesn't seem to bother them at all, does it? Okay, we're back live now. Oh, someone's down in the background. All the riders down. That is a big shame. It looked like could have been Benyat Fernandez being one of them. It is, and I think it's him and Christian Daniel. Two riders said keep an eye on them. Well, we've kept an eye on them there as they tumble into the gravel. What a shame. They will be hopefully back out tomorrow, and we'll see the best of them there.
And springs are broken up a little bit at the front with Uriarte just second. Oh, very slight, because the slip's being plus close to right up again then, doesn't it? Vader Patama up the inside of Gonzalez and into third place. Marco looking, not seriously looking up the inside of Brian Uriarte.
Martinez has crashed out as well, unfortunately. Big shame.
Things reverse very quickly, don't they? You go from, you know,
Fastest rider to the gravel. Yeah. That's motorbike racing for you, isn't it? They crossed the line this time. So 7 laps to go, officially well beyond half race distance now. And it's Uriarte still in command, Peter. Where is Danish? Danish still been pushed back a little bit, back to 8th position there then. He's now behind Ramadipa then in 7th as Morelli gets moved wide by Pratama.
Yeah, Pratama's, yeah, he's got his serious face on now, hasn't he? You know, he's not knocking around anymore. He knows that he's got to finish in front of Brian Uriarte if he's going to keep these cup hopes alive.
Well,
inside line,
looking up the inside into turn 8. This is where we saw Beñat Fernandez and Christian Daniel go down. Such an inviting corner, such a weird line to go into. It's cambered as well, isn't it? And very, very odd. Oh,
look at that. That's different.
Yeah, you think different line choices. And wow, Morelli had to check up there. He's lost a big place there to Mitani. That was a bit of an error, really, from Morelli, just going that far inside. He really didn't anticipate the other riders just completely chopping the front end of his bike off.
No, that's right. And Gonzalez picked up the inside line on Patama there as well to take 2nd place.
Gonzalez going a bit wide, and there Pratama doesn't need a second invitation, does he?
Yeah.
Instant between Beñat and Christian to be reviewed after the race, so clearly a bit of a collision going down on the gravel there.
Yeah, and I think it'll be interesting to see now. I wonder whether Gonzalez, Patama and Uriarte can break away here. These guys have got the pace. They qualified 1, 2, 3, and it'd be interesting if Mitani, Morbidelli and Co can go with them.
Gonzalez hasn't actually been on the podium since Mugello race 1, where he was 2nd, but he was 4th last time out in Austria.
And an aggressive, superb aggressive move from him then to pass Vader Pratama. And we can see that number 70, Christian Daniel, has got going again, right at the back of the field.
Here's what happened to him and Beñat. We might see it just out of shot. Yes, wow, that was well on the way in. All riders conscious.
And he was determined, wasn't he? He said, you know, Christian's still holding the handlebars. I'm not giving up, mate, just because I'm sliding off into the gravel trap.
He's actually been in Italy for over a week now, is Christian Daniel, racing in the Italian Championship. Came away with a 3rd place in one race, crashed in another. So, well, could that be an omen for tomorrow? Let's see.
Right, so Patama, though, interesting inside line. Surely he loses out on the drive onto the back straight there because he's so tight going in. You know, he must be wide coming out. Yeah, very, very strange anyway. And in fact, yes, he loses the drive because David Gonzalez picked up.
Oh, God! But just not minutes. Does he look at him?
Oh,
look at
him!
Ben. And Sen Mitani's in 2nd place now.
Where did he come from? Out of the slipstream. What a brilliant move. Absolutely fantastic.
And Patama straight up the inside again of Gonzalez. He is tenacious.
That's right. And these lot are mucking each other around now and giving a breathing stage for Uriarte. But Sen Mitani, where did that come from? Absolutely superb.
Absolute cracker that was. As we see, unfortunately, KJ Monignano's gone down at turn 8 this time. That's a shame for him. He actually qualified down in 16th position, which is a darn sight better than he's been doing lately.
3 abreast. 3 abreast there it is. Vader Patama. Gonzalez
just behind him. Hakim Danish round the outside of Vader Patama. Danish arrives on scene to try and stake his claim in a last gasp bid for the title.
That's right, and of course, you know, he's still trying to keep his cup hopes alive, but he's also trying to keep 2nd place. He's trying to battle 2nd place with Vader Patama.
Yeah, some international pride there at stake between Malaysia and Indonesia. So close geographically, but there's a bit of a rivalry there, even though I think they do get on quite well.
Right, and Brian having a nice, you know, casual time, but just at the moment there's 5 laps remaining. Hard to imagine it's going to stay like that. It is Gonzalez on the number 11 who has 2nd place, but only just from Zen Mitani. There comes Vader.
What on earth was that?
He passed 3 people.
And they got passed by 2.
Yeah, because he drifts wide. He goes up the inside, which is fantastic. We love that. That's a bit of drama. But, you know, now he's back again. He's been passed by all of them.
It's all going to end in tears if they're not careful through Curvone, Peter. Goodness me.
No, it's going to end with Brian Uriarte running away with this race because they're just mucking each other up about
Yeah,
now.
they need to be careful. It's over a second now. They get... Just down. Kim's wide, and that could be it, Peter. That is it, I think. That is down and out. Kim's wide.
Pushin is down. There just wasn't the room.
No.
There wasn't room.
And that was almost inevitable. It was Karpushin who was down as well. Oh, dearie me. Well, that could be it.
Yeah.
But never say never with 4 laps to go. As Morelli goes up the inside of Mitani. Vader's out. He's down and out. So's Karpushin. Oh, what a shame. Here's what happened then. Where's Karpushin? He's looking up the inside. Vader doesn't want to give an inch. He really doesn't. And unfortunately, when you don't want to give an inch, and you don't leave enough space, racing incident, that's all it is, unfortunately. This happens in racing.
Yeah.
So
Hakim is still going, but he's down in 10th place. You know, that's the end of, you know, his cup chances. I mean, of course, Brian's got to keep it together here.
Yeah. Keep your head, Brian.
Keep your head, Brian. That's it. I wonder. Oh, but he slid. Did you see him slide both wheels then?
Brian,
You need to be doing this,
do it on the cool down lap. Save it for now.
Yeah, get the pit board out. You know, save it. You know, please.
This could be it, eh?
My goodness, 4 laps to go, Brian. Please. We don't need any drama. Hopes alive. But he's also trying to keep 2nd place. He's trying to battle 2nd place with Vader Patama.
Yeah, some international pride there at stake.
Is in 2nd place. Marco Morelli is in 3rd place.
And can they do the work to catch him back up? Because it's starting to come down again. 10th by 10th, sector by sector.
Well, that's right. And now, you know, it's simplified things, isn't it? You know, there's now, you know, just a couple of guys battling instead of a mob of getting in each other's way, and they definitely can.
It's Morelli out the inside of Gonzalez, but Gonzalez doesn't want to give it up. He does not, but he is forced to give it up. Morelli there just goes through. Mitani's in 4th position. Ramadipa, Indonesia still have someone to cheer for. Ramadipa in 5th place.
Yeah, I mean, and the point being, Brian doesn't have to win this now, because you look, he's got a 45-point lead.
But in Brian's head, he does.
He does. Well, the other thing that's in Brian's head is, you know, it might not be at the forefront, but he's got it. If he wins both races this weekend, he becomes joint most successful ever rookie. So, you know, but he has to win both races.
Well, they're right on him now. Morelli right behind Uriarte. Gonzalez 3rd. Mitani 4th. This is going to get juicy.
It was very quick, wasn't it? You know, they caught him very, very quickly.
Yeah.
I wonder if Brian has, you know, because he was out front, he was pushing very hard, whether he has used the best of the tyres.
Fastest lap of the race was Morelli last time around, a 1:44.7.
But, you know, as we saw from that 2-wheel drift, as I said, the Pirellis are so predictable. You know, the guys can do that. I mean, they shouldn't be doing it all the time. But, and up the inside comes Pirelli. But yeah, Brian will want to win this. You know, as you say, he's a racer, and he'll want to win this. He's not just going to take the cut, you know, with a 4th place or something if he can avoid it.
I'll tell you what, though, Peter, Morelli and Uriarte have some recent history in Germany as well, don't they? As Morelli got a bit too eager trying to move up the inside of him. Got a long lap penalty for wiping them both out the race as well.
He did,
so this could get very juicy. This is the showdown that we like to see. Even though Dinesh is back in 10th place, Pratama out of the race, Brian should well take the cup here today in a couple of moments' time. But will he take it from the top step? Or will he be on 2nd place or even 3rd?
Yeah, I know the Daily Mail in you wants them to be bad blood between the two of them.
No. Not at all.
Right, okay. Is it going to be elbows out or is it going to be elbows in? It's Brian Uriarte that leads from Marco Morelli, from David Gonzalez, and the 34. The number of Kevin Schwantz, Sen Mitani, is in 4th place.
And Morelli got a great drive out of turn 6, and he goes round the outside of Ariarte, and Gonzalez, they double team him in towards turn 8, but Brian cuts it straight back. Side by side with Gonzalez, and he goes in one corner from 1st to 3rd.
And Hakim Danish is back in 10th place. You know, he got hit in that incident. He didn't go down, he got hit. Now, you don't know if it's got any damage to the motorcycle, but he's obviously thought about, you know, it's made him think about things.
Right. Mitani wants a piece of this. He wants a piece of it. A podium for him will do very nicely indeed. The Japanese rider got 1 podium so far this year, race 2 in Germany.
And there is the number 11 of David Gonzalez. Absolutely superb stuff. He takes the lead.
Oh,
no, Morelli! He is fantastic. And he's, you know, we see different Marcos every weekend, but this is the winning Marco.
The way he just sort of whipped it with the rear wheel. Get out of my way.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
Absolute cracker.
Absolutely. And then Brian's back to 4th place. But if you can see there, he's still going to win the cup. But
going to take it lying down. Here he goes. Last lap. Ariarte into 3rd place. He gets rid of Mitani immediately. Mitani catches right back up on the nose. Will he get him a cut back to turn 3? No. Ariarte then maintains 3rd position. Morelli still in the lead. These are some of the key overtaking spots here, but you don't want to sacrifice your drive onto the back straight. Turn 8 is another big one.
That's right. You know, the back straight here, where, as you say, Brian's been superb at getting the drive onto the back straight. And he will pick up a great slipstream from these guys. But of course, even if he does the outbraking at the end of the straight, there's still those 2 left-handers to go. Plenty of action left in this race. Up the inside goes the number 11 of David Gonzalez in Spaniard.
Ariarte just tried to cut to the inside there, but I think his line was pretty well blocked. So Gonzalez just quickly into the lead. But what about him? Morelli loves going really wide inside. Here! Oh, and the front end's shattering on Gonzalez's bike. But who's going to drive out of this one down the back straight, Peter?
Yeah, and Brian's in the perfect position for the slipstream. He pulls out alongside. There's still Gonzalez in the front. It's Brian up into 2nd place, but there's still a load of corners to sort out.
Misano into 2nd place. Oh, goodness me. Morelli pushed wide. Gonzalez still leads. Talk us through it, Peter. Here we go.
Yeah, I mean, and of course, Marco's gone on the green on the last lap, so he may lose this anyway. It's completely. Brian goes up the inside. It's Brian's race from here. It's Brian's race. Surely he's going to win this one. Absolutely fabulous stuff. He's got 1 more left-hander. Oh, don't make any mistakes. And it's Brian Ariarte that's going to win. Marco Morelli up into 2nd place. Matani is 3rd. Can he take? Yes, it is. Brian Ariarte. He's the cup champion. He's the winner.
What a masterclass from Ariarte to polish off what's been a drama-filled year. But he's done it. He is the Red Bull MotoGP Rookies Cup winner of 2025. And can you barely believe it? It was all, you know, for grabs. And he's the technical team won't like that, but we love it.
Yeah, that's. I mean, my goodness, those guys. I mean, everybody from Sen Mitani, from Veda Patam, all of them put absolutely. You know, there was nothing left. Nothing left, was there?
All on there, and he's just in floods of tears, as he should be, because this is what it means. We fully expect to see him in Moto 3 next year.
Well, he said to me yesterday when I was talking to him, he said, Peter, I've got some big news, but I can't tell you. So, which make of that what you will.
Spoiler alert, Brian.
Yes, spoiler. And there is he's going to get the winner's T-shirt. He's going to get the special HJC helmet. There's our HJC engine here, and he's going to get the special golden helmet. He's got the special Alpine Stars winner's bib. I mean, you know, when you've got the support of KTM, of HJC, of Alpine Stars, and you've got the talent that these guys have, there really is no limit.
It's no surprise that when they are arriving into Moto 3, they are, you know, really firing on all cylinders from the get-go. Even the guys who, up until this final race, final lap last year in Peroni, he needed to finish in the top 3 to get a ride in Moto 3 next year. He did. Tomorrow he's starting from pole position in Moto 3, you know.
That's right.
Such a high level in Rookies Cup.
And of course, you know, Brian was second in the Cup last year. He would have been in Moto3, but it's just too young, even with the one-year dispensation, because he was in the top 3 of the Rookies Cup. He was still too young.
But he's not too young anymore, and he is moving up as a champion. He's got the golden helmet, and the 51 will be making waves in the Moto3 World Championship next year. You can guarantee that. That final lap, final corner was, you know, final couple of corners was just an absolute classic of Uriarte. Here's the moment, though, technically, that he won the Cup, you could argue. Just not enough space.
And 2 of the Cup, you know, contenders involved in it. Vader finished Vader's race.
Drama,
and
pure drama.
And it pretty much put the kibosh on Hakim being able to do anything very much from there.
It was just on the outside. Pirelli was lucky not to get caught up in that one, wasn't he?
And that's right, but then you look at that, you know, the beginning of that shot with the replay, and how much of an advantage Brian had, and yet, you know, the guys came back at him.
The front end of David Gonzalez, all out of character. Brian's like, don't need a second invitation, like a rat up a drain pipe.
No, it's almost as though he could see that coming, isn't it? You know, because he just hung back. And it all went wrong for Dave. Ramadipa, yeah, great stuff. I mean, if you're going to exceed track limits, you know, do it in a big way.
Well, he rammed a 2 deep there and he went way wide. To make him do that all season.
Oh, absolutely. Superb.
Oh, this is what we love about Rookies Cup. I mean, to get a championship like that, that's what Rookies Cup is about, you know?
Yeah, you don't want to see it in any other...
Mega.
Look at that.
He already knew. Number 1, he didn't come in with the fear of losing. He started today's race with one thing in mind, and that was being number 1.
Top that, eh?
Absolute cracker. Oh, and there it is, the stand-up wheelie. The wheelie king of Rookies Cup is back. And unfortunately, that's the last we'll see of him in Rookies Cup doing it. So, we will see it next year.
Well, what about tomorrow, mate?
Or tomorrow again. Well, yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Exactly. You've got to sign off with a big and everything. There we go. All the way down the back straight, Brian. Very nice indeed.
Right, so all-time Rookies Cup winners. Angel Piqueras at 11 wins. He's top. Karel Hanneke, the Czech ace, the endurance world champion, Le Mans 24-hour winner, 10 wins. And then Bo Benschneider, Pedro Acosta, Shannon True and Brian Uriarte on 9. Well, he's now gone to 10 and joined Karel Hanneke as the 2nd most successful rookie of all time. And if he can win tomorrow, he'll join Angel Piqueras on top.
Oh, there we go. Funny story about Brian Uriarte. His first ever day as a Rookies Cup rider went woefully. He was forced to sit out the 2nd day. Do you remember?
I don't.
He blew up an engine and put it to 16,000 revs and blew up his engine. So the road coaching staff said, sorry, mate, you're sitting out tomorrow. You don't get another bike. That was day 1 of his career.
I think they've forgiven him.
Yeah.
Oh, and then, well, Kevin, Kevin made the difference, didn't he? Kevin gave the tip, and you've got to say that fits Mitani on the podium. Absolutely.
Keeping the number 34 going very strongly indeed. Brilliant.
To add to his 2nd place in race run at the Saxon Ring.
He's a real talent as well as Mitani.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very highly thought of. And Marco.
And they're fantastic guys. They're funny. I mean, Zen is super.
Zen's a
real comedian,
superstar of the future. Really, really top quality lad.
Yeah.
Arrogato.
Yeah. Happiness all round there.
Well, where is Brian? Hurry up.
Yeah, he's still, wandering around with the golden helmet and the golden Alpine Stars t-shirt, he think. He lost his gloves, notice. I don't know who's got Brian's winning gloves, but it's not him.
Oh, and he's really soaking that one up, isn't he, as he comes in. Well done, Brian. Good job. Thank you, Red Bull MotoGP Rookies Cup, for 2 amazing years. You're welcome. Medal on top as well.
Yeah.
Nice. He's a good showman as well, isn't he? good stuff, that. Absolute. It's his dad with him. There they are. Very, very nice indeed.
Yeah. Absolutely brilliant. Well, we've got to thank those guys for giving us, you know, I mean, the race of the year.
Yes. Just superb entertainment, isn't it, really?
Absolutely. And it built and built and built, and it just
drama all over the place. They know how to keep us hooked, don't they? I mean, if you don't watch Rookies Cup, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's right.
You know,
what are you doing?
Bit of complaints about MotoGP this year, being a bit boring, a bit samey, a bit predictable. What can you predict about that, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah.
Forget the top class in the aero. Stick a bunch of teenagers on Red Bull KTMs from X amount of different countries around the world and watch them fly.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, what a vehicle for these lads, the KTMs.
Zenmitani back on the podium then. What does he make of that one, Dommy?
Zen, congratulations. What an incredible penultimate round of the Red Bull MotoGP Rookies Cup. Tell us what's going on through your mind and how was the last lap?
At the first, I'm so happy to this result because in Jackson I got the podium, but the next race I lost everything. Yeah, now I'm back here and then I'm so happy about this. just only this. Thank you so much.
How about the battle in the last lap? It looked really intense.
I didn't expect it. Marco come at the last corner. I was surprised because I see his front tire, then I couldn't save it, and then
here you are on the podium.
Yeah, I'm so happy. Thank you.
Well done, thank you very much.
Yeah, great stuff.
What a great lad he is. And yeah, I mean, starting from 4th position on the grid, ending up 3rd place. I mean, he really went for it. I mean, the moves he tried to put up the inside of a Curvone, I mean, ferocious.
That's right, and he came from nowhere, didn't he? He was back in that pack, and suddenly he was at the front of it.
What about Morelli, though? 2nd place, Dommy, take it away.
Marco Morelli, this race was unbelievable. Here you are on the podium. Tell us, how are you feeling?
I feel so good. Being on the podium another time is a great feeling. It was a difficult race, also a lot of battle. I thought the group, it will be with less riders, but I try to manage always be on the front, don't lose too much positions. Then I see Brian go a bit, and I push to catch, and then finally I get the 2nd position. But to be honest, when I finished the race, I was thinking about maybe it's the last, never say last, no, but it's in the last weekend here in Red Bull Rookies, and when I did the coming lap, I was thinking about that they chose me in Modena in the Red Bull Rookies Cup selection, and I was thinking about all the good things this championship bring me. I had good moments, also bad moments, but I learned from everything, and I think during these 3 years I came as a kid to the championship, and I don't want to say I live like a man, but I live with a lot of emotions, and yeah, super happy. And as I say before to one friend, I will always love the MotoGP Red Bull Rookies Cup. Thank you.
The dream comes true with the Red Bull MotoGP Rookies Cup. What comes next then?
Whatever comes next will be fine, but yeah, now is one of the best days of my life. I think this year is super nice, and I thank to the universe for giving me all this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. One more race to go tomorrow.
Tomorrow, let's say we win.
Thank you.
Matt, are you crying, Matt?
Are you crying, Peter?
Oh, no, I'm not crying.
No, I'm crying. I'm bloody Peter. God, Mark and Morelli, what a sweetheart he is. And you did leave a man, lad. You've even got better stubble than I do. For goodness sake.
That's right. That's right. And you know, and you look back, you look at the result, and you see David Gonzalez 4th. But you know, boy, did he put everything into that race.
Yeah. Well then, Brian Uriarte, though, is the champion. He must be absolutely delighted with that. Take it away, Dommy.
Uriarte, you are the 2025 Red Bull MotoGP Rookies Cup champion. One race before we actually end the season. So tell us, how are you feeling? Because I'm actually crying.
crying and I am about to cry because of you. Yeah, super happy. I don't want to see you cry.
It's tears of joy.
Well, unbelievable. We've been working very hard. Last year was so close, and this year, well, I'm the 2025 Red Bull Rookies Cup champion, and yeah, I have to give thanks to all these guys that they are amazing for giving me this opportunity. Yeah, we've worked very hard for being here, and yeah, winning, it's amazing. And yeah, I have to thank all of them, including you also. Thanks Matt, thanks Peter, thanks to everyone who have been supporting me all my career. And yeah, the future looks bright, so let's go for it.
Congratulations, you deserve the win.
You know, they thank us, but boy, you know, we thank them for what they bring to us, don't we?
Totally.
Absolutely.
And this is how it was won. Uriarte. Uriarte was back to winning ways, and he's got all his family and friends rallied around him this weekend. In fact, Peter, his dad has taken a plane for the first time in his life to visit his son, to watch him race internationally for the very first time. How wonderful is that?
He's very much, yeah. I mean, Hakim has been, you know, superb Rookies Cup rider for the 3 years. It's his third season of Rookies Cup. He's been absolutely brilliant, but I think his back is against the wall this weekend. He wasn't happy through P1, FP1, FP2. He even, you know, things improved. The guys worked on the bike. He was happier for qualifying. But at the end of that, he said the bike is still only 80% right. I'm still only 8% happy. And that is not really the way you want to go into the final 2 races of the season.
He needs to find that 20% himself, doesn't he?
He does. He does.
His right wrist and his first couple of fingers on his right hand, basically, right?
Yeah.
So let's have a quick rundown of the grid then. I mean, we're absolutely trudging through it at the speed of light, basically, as you can see, all the way down to row 9 there. But basically, what we're going to be paying attention to, especially in this race, Uriarte is first, Vader second, Hakim Danish is 6th. There are so many other riders who have got big points to prove. They want a position in the World Championship. They want a position in Rookies Cup next year. You know, they just want to continue their careers and put the best performance that they can. And they could all play a big factor in this championship chase here today.
That's right. We've assumed that it's a battle between Brian Uriarte and Vader Fatama, but of course, you know, David Gonzalez, he's on the front row of the grid. He certainly has ideas about winning this. Zen Matani coming up the second row with the support of Kevin Schwantz, Scuderia Pugliese, Italian. Hakim Danish, he needs it from, you know, 6th place on the grid. Gwilym Clark, Luca Agostinelli, Marco Morelli. Marco Morelli, you know, he's already got a ride for next year.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to be riding much more relaxed now. He will be with the Aspar team alongside Maximo Quiles, former Rookies Cup front runner, next year. What will that do for his confidence? And also, it's just worth saying what a wonderful success story that is. Morelli, no plan B he's got on the back on his helmet. He took a year off racing, then signed up for the Rookies Cup selection event, got selected. He's in year 3, he's won races, got podiums, and now he's signed for one of the top teams in Moto 3. He has made it as a professional rider, all thanks to Rookies Cup.
Well, that's right. But he's an enigma, isn't he? Because, you know, last year he won 2 races. The way he won in Assen last year, he was a race of his own. Yeah. And yet, you know, he can't do that every weekend.
No.
And he hasn't won this year.
But he's clearly shown enough that they are like, you're our guy.
Yeah, well, that's right. I mean, you know, and maybe that's what he needs. He needs to be in a team where they're just concentrating on him. Of course, we have 26 rookies. There's, you know, there's a limited amount of concentration on Marco Morelli. Yep. When he gets in his own team, that will be different next year. It'll be fascinating to see how it goes.
Exactly that. So then, this is the final corner then. Will we see any drama here this weekend? All down to the final lap. You'll still remember, if you were watching last year, the 51 Brian Uriarte lost the Rookies Cup time to Alvaro Carpe in the final lap and the final corner in the last race.
And he said the mistake I made was going into that race. He said I went into it trying not to lose. That was wrong, he said. You've got to go into the race going for the win. And he said that's what I'm going to be doing tomorrow.
Here we go, Peter.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But then, you know, I'm sure Vader's got the same idea as has David Gonzalez and, you know, at least half the grid. OK, we're in for 15 laps of Red Bull MotoGP Rookies Cup action. And they're away. Everybody gets a good start. Vader, is he going to pass Brian on the run into the first corner? He's got the inside line. Surely it's going to be Vader who takes the lead from Brian Iriarte into the first corner.
Neck and neck they were, Peter, and Vader takes the lead. And look at that, who's in third place? It is David Gonzalez ahead of Giulio Pugliese. Where's Dinesh? Did he get bogged down a little bit? He did. He's a couple of places back than when he started on the grid. But Vader, he's decided, I'm going to win this race. I'm going to take it to the wire.
That's right. He's going to do this to keep his championship hope alive into tomorrow. Absolutely superb stuff. But it's already Brian Iriarte who takes the lead.
This is it, down into turn 8 then, as it's one of the biggest braking zones on the track, and we've got Brian into the lead at the end of that first sector. Then out we come on towards turns 9 and 10. Big overtaking spots here, but you don't want to sacrifice your drive onto the back straight.
Dash into back into ninth place. He's got a lot of work to do.
This is the question. Will it be a big old freight train of riders, or will Brian pull the pin? I tell you what, Peter, he's been smiling all weekend. He's seen nothing less than pure confidence every time I've seen him.
Absolutely, isn't he? And, you know, Vader knows that he can't afford to let him get away. He's got to get with Brian and give him a hard time. The number 11 is there, David Gonzalez. He also thinks he's given a hard time. And Morelli's there in 5th place behind Pugliese.
Yeah, we've not seen much of Pugliese the last couple of rounds, but don't forget he's got 2 podiums so far this year, has the Italian rider. I know he's also won races here in Misano in the European Talent Cup previously as well. So really, really, really keep your eye on him. But also the 95, Marco Morelli, just behind him.
Yeah, there's the 13. He nudges somebody out of the way there. He knows Agostinelli. He knows he's got to make his way through. He can't afford to be nice about it. 14 laps remaining. But you say, Pugliese, you know, he enjoys riding at home. He's got a huge fan following here. He said he loves the track. He said Mugello's even better, but I have fun here. I'm going to have a great... I can't wait to ride tomorrow, he said.
Well, on they come to the back straight. Well, one of the 2 back straights, I think I'd call this one. It's Brian Iriarte and David Gonzalez. Gonzalez definitely putting himself in the frame for a potential World Championship ride going forward. And he goes for the lead now. He overtakes Brian, under-braking into that left-hander. But how much of his drive has he sacrificed? Not too much, as he maintains the lead then. Brilliant.
Yeah, and if it finishes like this, Gonzalez, Iriarte, Fatama, then... Iriarte is the Cup champion, no matter what happens tomorrow.
And the back straight again they come. A little bit of weaving in the background there. We know they've been warned about that after it got a little bit out of hand over the last couple of rounds. So they've got to keep that one in check as they go full slipstream through Carbone, the fastest corner on the calendar. And now it's full braking and little sort of squirts of power between the corners. And they're going, 3, 4 abreast. And Morelli nearly clips the back wheel of Vader Pratama. You don't want to be doing that, Marco, as he slots into 4th.
Yeah, so any idea that Brian Iriarte was going to get to the front and run away with it, that disappeared very quickly, didn't it? Because Gonzalez, Fatima, they're well off in the blue stuff there. That's okay. They don't get penalised for going off on the blue stuff. Only if they touch the green are they going to be careful.
Morelli really trying to make his way through on Vader Pratama. He just tried to outbrake him there, but Pratama cut his nose off to make sure he couldn't get through. Brian's back in the lead, though. Where's Dinesh? Just on the back of this group. He's behind the number 32 of Ramadipa, the Indonesian rider who's been on some great form lately as well. He's trying to go on the inside.
Did he touch it? Almost. Looked as though he touched rear wheel there, didn't it?
I think he left a couple of tire marks on Ramadipa and leathers there. But Dinesh, after an initial sluggish start, he's in the groove again. 8th position, trying to make his way up to 7th. Gonzalez trying to make a move on Brian Iriarte into 1st again, but not quite.
Yeah, superb, nice line from Brian Iriarte there, hanging on to the advantage.
Morelli's made his way up into 3rd as well, ahead of Pratama. So this would be the case where Iriarte does take the championship today.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. And of course, Vader knows that, so he's going to be he must be worried about the two Spaniards getting ahead now. They could make a break on Morelli and make it very difficult for them. We'll see what happens.
Through Carbone we go, on board with the Indonesian, not quite as he tries to make a move through Morelli there. That is one of the bravest places to do it on the calendar, and look at that! Oh, wow, but it's such a pleasure to watch Vader Pratama ride, and Morelli fights straight back at him, tries to stand him up in the middle of the corner as well. Absolutely brilliant.
Rubbing paint off each other, and yet they're not slowed down at all, are they? Because they didn't lose ground to Uriarte and in that battle.
Well, then just behind them, you've got Pugliese, Zenmitani, who started from 4th on the grid. He's in 6th, just ahead of Danish now in 7th, who's dispatched Rabadeepa. We see fast slap